from my voice, but I have never seen anything like it.
You believe in miracles? Yes! Unbelievable.
Hey, welcome back to the show. Andrew Zimmel, host as always. We're reviewing Netflix's new movie, Lovebirds, with two of my favorite actors right now. Two of my favorite comedy actors, my favorite actors. They both have their own in HBO shows. Issa Rae had her own HBO show, Insecure. If you haven't checked that out, you need to. And then Kamal Najahame, who was in Silicon Valley, and then he was in one of the best comedies of last summer, Stuber. And Stuber, very underrated movie. If you haven't seen that, you need to go check that one out too. I don't know where you can find it, but I know where you can find this movie, Lovebirds, and it was pretty good. Here's the deal. We'll start off from the top. I'll give you the synopsis of the movie as we usually do. I haven't done a movie review in a minute, mostly because of quarantine, but also because there hasn't been a ton of really good movies out recently. We'll give you the summary, and then I'll tell you the last movie I saw. On the brink of breaking up, a couple gets unintentionally embroiled in a bizarre murder mystery. As they get closer to clearing their names and solving the case, they need to figure out how they and their relationship can survive the night. So the movie opens up with them meeting for the first time. It's like a Tinder date. It looks like spend the whole day together. You can tell that these two people click immediately. Okay? I've never had that before, so I can always say that, hey, this is what it looks like on the big screen. But I have met people who have clicked like that, and good for them. Good for these two characters in this movie. But I was saying before we got into this that I hadn't seen any good movies lately. There's not a ton that are out. I saw Scoob. I thought that was pretty okay for what it was, but there hasn't been a ton of movies that I've been really enthralled with. And this movie, coming in, I just saw the two actors. I never saw a trailer for this movie. I never was like, let me go hunt down what this movie's about. I'm just really going to see these two actors and how they're going to interact with each other, because it just felt like such a weird pairing. I don't know if it's because I just don't see Issa Rae with these type of actors. I see her as her own person. Anytime that she's in a movie or television show, I'm always kind of like hesitant because Insecure works so perfectly for her. It's weird to see her interacting with other characters. And maybe that's me. Maybe that's on me. Maybe I need to open up my eyes and like look for more Issa Rae content. But from what I've seen, I just enjoy her more when she is, working with other people. So I was very curious to see how this dynamic would work out. And at the beginning, it was kind of weird. The beginning, I wasn't entirely in love with the pairing. It just didn't feel, it kind of felt unnatural. I don't know if it was the script. I don't think it was the actors, but it just felt like at the beginning it was a little choppy for me. But as the movie got going, as these things do, you get a little bit momentum. You get momentum going on your side. All of a sudden, lines start coming a little bit easier, I find it. Scenes make it a little bit better. And by the second act of this movie, we were off and running, and it was a good deal to go. So what happens is these two characters, they're going to a dinner party. They already have had their fights. It's 4 years that they've been together, and they don't think that they're compatible. They're going to break up. 4 years together with somebody, it's a long time. And you knew that these two probably weren't going to break up. You knew that this was going to be one of those, like, oh, they're going to stay together for the rest of their lives type of things. So predictability in a movie, we don't love it over here. I'm not entirely in love with knowing the concept or the idea of what a movie's going to be about before I really sit down and watch it. But this movie, I suspend my disbelief. I just hang out with these characters as they go find out who this murderer was. They're driving to this party. They accidentally hit a bicyclist. A guy comes up, says he's police, takes their car while they're in the car, hits the bicyclist again, and runs him over and kills him. And it's one of those, like, why would you do that? What was happening here? There's a level of, like, again, mystery to it. So I liked the movie. I thought it was good. I would give it 5-6 stars out of 10. I wasn't in love with it. And the problem, too, is that and I'm going to have to send you back to another podcast that we did. We did Uncut Gems at the very beginning of this podcast feed. So if you go on Spotify, if you go on Apple Podcasts, I bet you could find it. If you just type in the name of the podcast and put Uncut Gems at the end, I bet it would come up for you. Put it in Google search, it's going to show up for you. We did an Uncut Gems podcast. Uncut Gems, one of my favorite movies of the last 5 years. It's be on my Mount Rushmore of Adam Sandler movies, honestly. That's how much I enjoyed Uncut Gems. Uncut Gems came out on Netflix yesterday. So I'm hoping that people will go and watch Uncut Gems, but I hope also that you will check out this Lovebirds show, because we can talk about the best scene of the movie. If you haven't seen it yet, I don't want to spoil anything for you. We can talk about the apex. The apex, honestly, I didn't think either one of see, that's the problem too. So you come into a movie like this with the actors that were in this, and you think to yourself, is Kumail going to have this great show? Is Issa going to have this great showing? Are these two characters, these two actors really going to stand out? And the problem, I thought, was neither one of them really did. That's not great. That's not great for the success of this movie, and that's not really great for either one of these actors. I still think that they both, as much as I love Issa and as much as I love Kumail, it's just like they're still in that B phase, I think, of their careers. I think that they're both are, in a couple years, hopefully, that they can be the type of characters that are bringing people to the movie. Oh, this person's in the movie, I'm going to go see it. Like, for me, they're that, but I don't think for the majority of people, those two actors are that. And hopefully going forward, they can become that. Best scene of the movie, I would have to say, is the scene where the two characters, they're on the hunt. They hunt down this guy's apartment where the bicyclist was. They're trying to solve this mystery. They go to the bicyclist's home, and they find a bunch of frat guys there. And they're trying to be very quiet. They're trying to rough up this frat guy. I thought that scene probably was the funniest scene in the movie, in a movie that's supposed to be like a comedy mystery type deal. I thought that was probably the best scene. Like I said, overall, 6 out of 10. Kind of a disappointing movie. And hopefully the next time we put something out, it's a little bit better. It's going to do fine. The streaming numbers are going to be fine because we're all in quarantine, because nobody can do anything. There's really nothing else to do. Netflix will put this at the top of their stream. People are going to tune in because it's Issa Rae, because it's Kumail, hopefully. And I think their fan bases are really going to carry this movie. The other thing that we need to think about, and we haven't done this on the movie podcast before, is there a memeable moment? Is there a moment while you're watching? I only think about this for Netflix shows, pretty much. That's usually the shows and the movies that I think of. How is this going to be a memeable moment? Kind of goes through my head. Is this the moment that we could like kind of do something with? You saw The Last Dance, the success of that show on ESPN. I think 80% was because it's Michael Jordan. I think 20% was, oh, this is a cultural moment. People are going to all be tuned in. And I think a lot of people were like, let's go get some memes from this. Let's go figure out where Jordan looks funny. Let's go figure out where we can make something out of this. We can create content out of the content. Is there content you can create out of this content? Maybe I'm not creative. Maybe I'm missing something. There wasn't anything that stood out to me early. Nothing in the beginning of this movie, nothing during this movie was there a time where I was like, oh, this is going to be the thing that is going to wrap up Twitter. This is going to be the thing that is going to be a GIF. This is going to be the thing that's going to be a funny video, funny photo. There was nothing there. And that's weird for Netflix. The king of give me funny moments, give me moments that can be turned into memes, especially off the success of Tiger King, which is essentially an 8-part series where every episode gave you a meme. So it's weird to think that Netflix doesn't have that and the writing didn't have that. It should hopefully have it. I'm hoping I'm missing something, but I didn't see it. That's going to do it for this one, but I want to start and talk a little bit about another show that's on Netflix right now, Avatar. So I'm going to get on my soapbox real quick. Show's great. I'm never going to say a disparaging word about Avatar, but I will say this. It's one of those, like, I don't want to be mean, but I don't want to disparage Avatar: The Last Airbender. It was on Nicktoons. It was on Nickelodeon when I was fourth and fifth grade ish. I really enjoyed it then. I enjoy it now. If it's on TV, I'll flip through channels and it's on. I'll watch a little bit of it. I'm not going to get a Netflix subscription. I'm not going to go pay money just to go watch this one show. But for younger people who are watching it for the first time, I think this is really good. This is one of the only shows ever to win a Peabody, which is a award that they give to journalists. They give to journalistic institutions. They gave it to this show. I think it's the only cartoon ever to win it because of the depiction of war and the effects of war on children. So there's your fun fact. But it's a show that if we all get really nostalgic about it, that I'm like, let's keep it moving. I like this last 5 years, last 3 years has been a lot of looking back, a lot of remakes, we're remaking Ghostbusters, remaking Space Jam. For all the problems that Lovebirds had, it was something that I hadn't seen before. I hadn't seen that concept of murder mystery. I haven't seen that concept of comedy murder mystery done before. I hadn't seen those two actors act together before, so it was all new to me. But Avatar, everybody's going to watch this show. Everybody's going to rewatch the show. And I want to remind people that it's nice to look back. In quarantine, all we've had to do is look back a lot when it comes to sports. But also, we need to be looking forward. And we need to be finding new content. We need to be finding new shows to watch. I've watched pretty much every new show, it feels like, that Hulu has put up. And I would much rather do that than rewatch some of the old shows that I watched. There's a really good quote that I don't know who to put it to, but I'm going to give it to my little brother because he says this all the time. He says personal libraries, not the best investment of your money, because once you read a book, how often do you really reread the book? And it feels like with movie libraries, with television libraries on these streaming sites, it feels like it's the opposite. That if you go and get stuff from the 90s and the 2000s, that there's an audience for it, that there's an audience for rewatching and going back and being nostalgic for things. I'm not entirely in love with it. But last thing before we go, I should say, Percy Jackson, Disney Plus is going to be a success. Everything Disney's put their hands on so far, outside of the Star Wars fans, and even then, those movies made a ton of money. Star Wars doesn't care. Disney doesn't care if the fanboys that make YouTube videos are pissy about how their movies turned out. They made plenty of money. The return on the investment when they bought the property of Star Wars is just like tenfold at this point. It doesn't matter. They're gonna the Clone Wars worked really well on Disney Plus. The Mandalorian worked really well on Disney Plus. Everything they've put on Disney Plus has worked so far. All the original content has worked. So when this Percy Jackson thing, I think they're starting writing the script now. So if we just do some quick math here, it's not going to get done. You're not going to see the first episode probably until 2023, 2024. Or is there going to be a life at that point? Well, hopefully. But I think it's going to work. I'm putting my name on that now, that the Percy Jackson series on Disney Plus will work in the future. That's a little bit of nostalgia to end my nostalgia rant. All right, that's going to do it for the show. Tune in. We have a lot of other content up today. I'm putting out a lot of stuff for you. I've been on a little bit of a break, so the batteries are more than full. There's no reason for me not to give you guys the best of Andrew Zimmel. So hopefully you guys continue to send this to all the corners of the internet. We've done a pretty good job. There were people who were hitting me up, asking me where I was, what was I doing, and kind of like the last Avatar, when the world needed me most, I vanished. So I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Stay safe.